You're watching continuing coverage of the 2012 Tuscarawas Cross Country Girls Race, and we just got done watching a few minutes ago the boys race, and obviously, Frank, the course no different as the girls run it. Tell us about who the top competing teams are as we see the starter's gun go off here in Sugar Creek.
Well, this is in the team race. Three very strong teams will be vying for the title with Dover, Claymont, and Garaway. With Dover's had some injuries to some of their top girls, so they may not be as competitive today as normal, but their freshmen that they have running are fantastic.
Our coverage of the race being brought to you by great sponsors including Subway and the Johnson Urban Range Attorneys at Law, as we see the runners.
Paige Soho out in the lead there in front of the pack, and everybody, all the other girls are chasing right now. Paige, a very strong runner. I look for there to be about 5 runners vying for the title here too, with the defending champion again from Garaway, Kenzie Winder. Here comes our top 3 here with Jordan Koch from Tusky Valley, a very consistent front runner, followed by Kenzie Witter, and nice surprise for Garaway, Rachel Wentworth, freshman. The reins have started here now, Morgan. I hope you have your umbrella.
Now I've got my logoed umbrella here as the race continues to take its course, and I guess what do the ladies have to watch out when you have a consistent and ongoing rainfall? Obviously, I guess it goes without saying, Frank, that can make the footing a little bit tricky.
True. On the backside of this course where the hills are, it could become a problem. Runners wear spikes. There's a freshman runner for Claymont. She's doing a real good job this year. It could, you know, I've fallen in races before, several times in races, so it happens. Last year in Boardman, I think it was muddier than Woodstock in the 60s. It was terrible how many kids fell.
As our racers watch our coverage of the race, ask your mom and dad what Woodstock was, because you have absolutely, positively no idea. Frank said I dated him earlier. He just dated himself with that reference.
Very good, very good. There's some Dover runners going by. Claymont girls finishing, that'll be their 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Steve Sparks over at Dover's had a nice surprise with some freshman runners too. The likes of Allie Garman, Carolyn Lehman, whose sister is a fantastic runner, and a couple others, Frankie Giamo and some other younger runners. They're really strong. Once they get their other Brooke Kinsey and Catherine Lehman back, they should be very strong.
Frank, when we talk about, I guess, getting your numbers up, you talked about this during the boys' race. Coaches face challenges, no matter what sport it is, about keeping your numbers up, and in the process of keeping those numbers up, finding quality athletes. How do you get a young lady interested in cross country?
The girls' coaches out there have even more competition, because there's also tennis in the fall, so, and volleyball too. So, and girls' soccer. Think about all those diversifications of sports that girls participate in, and yeah, it's tough to get your athletes.
Because Frank, and we made a couple of references to how old you and I are, but I guess if we go back to when we were in high school, I think the only thing that happened in the fall was volleyball. And you know what, so if the girls wanted to compete competitively, that was sort of their choice. We had a few in where I went to high school, Columbus Public High School. We had a few girls that ran on what was called the boys cross country team, but other than that, not a whole lot going on in the fall. Obviously, 25 plus years has changed all that, and that's a good thing for the ladies.
Yes, there's a lot of opportunities out there for them. Girls tennis is traditionally in the fall, so seems the rains have let up here a little bit. Let's hope it keeps that way.
From the competition angle, in terms of what the young ladies would think when they first start out, what the team competitions are, I shouldn't say competitions, Frank, I guess I'm talking more strategies. Does strategy vary from camp to camp? Everybody trying to do the same thing? I guess educate us a little bit in that department.
Well, some teams will have a pack, and the pack will find safety in its numbers, and they'll know that where they're supposed to be. So if somebody's dropping off, it'll be pretty obvious. Now, if you've got a string of runners, it's a little harder to tell exactly where people are supposed to be.
And we talk about, I guess, the inherent challenges in doing that, Frank. Do you have coaches? Do you have parents along the route that might be telling runner number 2 or runner number 7 is? Or how does that work out?
Yeah, usually everybody tries to help out a little bit, support all along the course, and somewhere like this, there's people all over it.
You're watching coverage of the 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championship, the girls varsity race. I'm Bill Morgan with Frank Fry. Our coverage being brought to you by First Federal Community Bank, Union Hospital in Dover, Superior Basements, and one of your local nationwide agents, Doug Sofer, at the Sofer Insurance Agency. And Kinsey Wooder from Garraway was a leading earlier on. We were watching, and
here
really
she comes right now, Bill.
Right, and that hasn't changed.
Here she is right now, Bill. Driving her arms real nice up this little incline. Looks very strong. Behind her's fantastic freshman Rachel Wentworth. And freshman sensation from Claymont, Caitlin Dillon. Coach Allball said that we'd be seeing big things from her when I was down there helping him. Jordan Koch, always very consistent. Looking strong yet.
And Frank, when we talk about the top 3, we talk a sophomore and a couple of freshmen. We asked you a little bit earlier, does that come as a surprise? I mean, when you look at other varsity sports, you think you don't see that too often in basketball or softball. Why does that happen in cross country?
I don't know why that is, Bill, but for some reason in the girls, when they're young, they can produce some fantastic times. Not that they don't go on to produce them later, but I think it goes back to, they say that the girls are more developed sooner. And it really shows because I think when we see the results here in the end, you're going to see a lot of underclassmen near the top.
You're watching coverage of the 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championships. I'm Bill Morgan with Frank Fry. Our coverage being brought to you by the Quaker Cinema in downtown New Philadelphia, the First National Bank of Denison, and Subway Restaurants.
There's Gabby Lewis. She's a nice freshman addition for Mark. Cross country too sometimes, Bill, is it's kind of like geometry. It's taking the best angle. Well, notice these runners as they come off the corner, they should really hug that very tight. This runner, this is Nicole Cox, she's a freshman from New Philly. She did a pretty nice job. You'll see some runners veer out a little bit more, and really essentially what they're doing is they're running farther distance. So it's not only who can run the fastest, but there's some smarts that go into it also.
Frank, when you talk about wanting to do this at this point in the race, how much of a challenge is that? You talked during our coverage of the boys' race about, I guess the fatigue and pain tolerance that sets in. How important does it become to do the things you're talking about? How challenging is it?
True. As you become under physical duress, your mind might not be thinking about everything it needs to be doing, like pumping your arms and taking the best line. Yeah, a lot of different variables there.
You gave us, Frank, I guess, times to look for in the boys' race in terms of when this gets to the end, assuming the rain doesn't pick up and the ground becomes wet. A winning girls' time, what will be on the radar in that department?
I think at Dover last year, Kenzie ran around a 19:20. So this course probably equal to that. I would look for her to run similar kind of time today as she did last year. There's Elena Roush from Claymont.
As we watch the runners continue to come around the course of the girls' varsity race for the 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championships from Sugar Creek. If the runners have designs to go on in college, and I realize this has to be a very general question, Frank, because it's going to vary from runner to runner, what are the big improvements they have to make, whether the ladies or whether it's the boys' race, to step up from the high school ranks to a rank running in distance at the collegiate level?
Well, the Division I level in college is very difficult. Most runners you'll see from our area will go to a smaller school and continue their running. But the girls, they really don't have much of an adjustment. It's still a 5K. When you get to the men's in college, they move up to what's known as an 8K or a 5-miler. And later in the season, when you get to your conference and then on to your regional and nationals, it turns into a 10K, which is a 6.2. So it's essentially double the distance they're running in high school.
You're watching our continuing coverage, 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championship, the girls race. I'm Bill Morgan with Frank Fry.
I just seen Coach Zobel run across the course there. I think that he might, he probably does about the equivalent of a 10K over one of these kind of meets.
Very fleet of foot.
I agree. He is an avid racer too. He participates in local races.
We were talking a couple of weeks ago, myself and somebody else who follows high school sports, Frank, and I think one of the great things about cross country is that this is a sport, and I'm a big a football guy as there is anybody, but this is a sport you can take with you your entire life. Most people, one of the boys, if you want to use an example of football, once they take their final snap as a senior in high school, you're probably not going to put on pads and a helmet and do this again. You can do this cross country as long as you want to. Take it with you, and it benefits you physically.
Absolutely. The guys that I run with right now are some of the guys I ran with in high school. So it is something that we've carried on. Although I can't run quite as fast or quite as far, I still try. But yeah, absolutely right. It's just a great sport, and you don't have to drive anywhere to get there. It's the first 2 steps out the door and you're working out.
The race this year being held in Sugar Creek. And tell us a little bit, Frank, about, I guess, where they're at on the course and what they're facing as they come into view here.
They're going into what's called the second lap. They're basically around the 1.25 miles to 1.5 miles point right here. So midway of the race. The tough part of the race is coming up with the hills on the backside.
When we talk about the high school racing level, Frank, just a little bit over 3 miles, is there one part in terms of at a distance, 2 miles, 2.5 miles, or whatever it might be, where runners have to overcome a mental barrier?
A course like this, if you're not conditioned to the hills, it could get very mental back there. You're already in your third leg of the race, and with it being more difficult, it could be a mental challenge also, as well as a physical.
Our cross-country coverage being brought to you from the 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championship by great sponsors. Without them, it would not be possible. Superior Basements, along with the Park Village Healthcare, Kugliak, Wilkins, Griffith, and Doherty attorneys at law, and Subway restaurants in the Valley. Subway, play hard and eat fresh.
Here we are at the final stretch, Bill, at the finish line. We look for Kenzie Witter to be around this corner any second.
It's on the baseball field of Garraway, and here she comes, Frank.
She just came around home plate, Bill. She's not going home. She's coming to the finish line. Very nice, very nice. Kenzie finished up with a time of 19:29. Very excellent.
Back-to-back championships as a freshman and then a sophomore. Certainly very impressive indeed.
Coach Zobel's got to be happy. Individual winners again, both men's and women's. Here comes little Rachel Wentworth, very strong. She's going to finish with a time of 19:53. Freshman Caitlin Dillon, 20:01.
Top 3, sophomore, freshman.
Jordan Koch finishing in a time of 20:08. And Amanda King out of Strasburg, very nice, very nice. 2017. They can't field a full team up there, but they've got some nice individuals. Sierra Swigert, first runner for Claymont. She finished with a 20:23. Here comes the Dover girl.
The finish line, right up the third base line and the left field line at the Garraway baseball field on the hill in Sugar Creek.
Sophomore state qualifier Courtney Sowers from Claymont. She just finished with a time of 20:48. Senior from Dover, Jess Stallings.
For schools that can't field teams, how do you become an individual, I guess, and qualify to move on once you get to the higher levels in the postseason?
So many individuals are taken out of the regional, and then 4 teams are taken out of each regional also. There's Gabby Lewis. She's a freshman from Claymont. She just finished with a 21:15 for a freshman. Running low 21s, that's really good.
Finish line of the 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championships.
Nicole Cox from New Philadelphia, freshman, 21:38. I think she grew 2 inches over the summer. I'm not kidding, Bill. I seen her at the track, and is she tall?
Proud Papa Todd somewhere watching, along with her mom, I'm sure, as so many of the parents are here at the Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championships in 2012.
It's even more than that. I think it's aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas, and it seems like they brought the whole family out here today.
See the umbrellas popped up near the finish line. Some light rain, that's sort of been off and on throughout the course of the race today.
Comes a new Philly runner here, followed by Elizabeth Harrington from Dover, finishing very strong. I would say Garraway is going to be tough to beat with that 1-2 punch today from the girls' standpoint. Pauline Fisher from Claymont and 2 more Dover girls. Well, this is where your 4th and 5th runner, you just don't know until you tally it all up at the end what's going to happen.
And again, Frank, the team scoring, you say each team runs 7 of the top 5 score.
Yes, top 5 runners score. Elena Roush really battling it out versus Garraway. That could cost somebody later.
Well, and as we were talking about during the boys' race, Frank, it amazes me as a non-running individual that after they've gone 3 miles and they're coming the last 30 or 40 yards down there, that they have enough left in the gas tank to sprint to the finish.
We saw a good one there. There's Lindsay Long from Garraway. What was very important there would be Elena just passed Amber Emmel of Garraway. So that could mean something in the end scoring. There's Garraway going for every point. Coach Zobel there stressing the importance of the finish.
You're watching the finish line, the 2012 girls varsity race, middle school races, and elementary school races as well as a part of the Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championships.
I would like to know a number of how many athletes, Biddy included, are going to run this race here today. I mean,
it's a big number, Frank.
It's in the hundreds. Appeared the boys' field was a little larger on the starting line than what the girls were.
And Frank, when you talk about 4s and 5s and how important they become to the scoring, we saw Coach Zobel go across the screen there. If your 4 and 5s haven't finished at this point, are you back there trying to, give them that inspiration coming down the stretch or letting know how important their finish is?
Absolutely, absolutely. Looks like we might have a race here. A little too late.
Our cross-country championship coverage being brought to you by Johnson Urban and Range Attorneys at Law, the First Federal Community Bank. Attorney Brad Hillier and Union Hospital on the Boulevard in Dover.
Did you make your way over there to their concession stand? They usually have some pretty good stuff over there.
I thought you were going to ask me if I made my way over to Union Hospital after they tried to make me run about a third of this race. I'd go to sports medicine immediately, if not sooner, if not the ER. Just over 5 dozen runners in the girls' competition.
64 total, that's correct.
Coming up as our race comes to a close, we'll run down for you the top 3 team finishers and top 5 individual finishers in this girls' varsity race.
You always get a little worried about the biddy runners, seeing as they're the last race. Things get dark. It just gets dark, earlier, and the biddy kids are the last. And I know in Dover last year, I think they were turning on lights and they finished in the dark. There's longtime official Steve Lauer, very good official. Coach Zobel's going to have an elementary race back out here coming up a little bit later in October. Rain's still coming down a little bit, but not all in all, not too bad.
When we look at Kenzie Witter's winning time on the girls' side, supposedly Logan Kettlewell's on the boys' side, and I guess you look at the difference there in the neighborhood of 3 minutes or a little bit more. Is that commonplace for a race to see the top finisher on the boys' and the girls' side separated by that much? Does it vary from race to race?
Yeah, I would think that'd be spot on about to where the elite runners are, about probably 3 minutes. When you get to the state level, you have kids running low 15s and the girls are running low 18s.
Now, again, to me, Frank, amazing as we watch another one of the runners round and come down the finish, but on this girls' side of the competition today, the top 3 finishers, sophomore, freshman.
We're going to be talking about them for a number of years here coming up.
By the time Kenzie Witter's a senior, people are going to be wondering if Coach Zobel snuck in some extra eligibility for her out there at Garaway, because it'll seem like she's been running out there since the beginning of time.
That's almost the way I feel about Logan, though. He has been successful. I started watching Logan in 7th grade, and he was an instant success and has continued it throughout.
As we watch the final few ladies come around and finish in our 2012 Tuscarawas County Girls Cross Country Championship at the varsity level. As you've heard Frank mention, and you see these 2 ladies coming right down the finish. But middle school races here today, as well as elementary school races.
Speaking of the elementary, in the boys' side of things, Indian Valley look very strong. They're going to be something to be seen once they get to the high school level.
Taking a look at the top finishers on the girls' varsity race, Frank will begin with the team numbers.
Team scores, Mark Allball's got to be very happy with his Lady Mustangs. They came out away with first place with 45 points. Very tightly contested race here with Garaway second, 58 points, and an injury-riddled Dover coming in at 67 points.
So really, Frank, a pretty good effort on their part, all things considered.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Flipping it over to the individual side, we'll take a look at the top 5 finishers.
Favorite, again this year, repeat champion, Kenzie Witter, in a time of 1929. I think she's got to be pretty happy about that. Rachel Wentworth, teammate, keeping her honest out there, freshman, 1953. Caitlin Dillon, following her, 2001. Jordan Koch, Tusky Valley senior, 2008. And Amanda King from Strasburg, a junior, 2017.
Our top individual finishers in the girls' 2012 varsity race. You're watching coverage of the 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championships with Frank Fry. I'm Bill Morgan.
Cool. The girls varsity winner for 2012 of the Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championship, Mackenzie Wooder. And Mackenzie, you were the winner in 2011. What does it feel like to win this event in back-to-back years?
An accomplishment because, I mean, I haven't heard of it happening a lot, but I just feel like I pushed myself this summer enough to bring out the title again.
What are the biggest developments in your game from freshman year to your sophomore year? Pretty good for a 9th grader, then a 10th grader to win it in back-to-back years. What do you feel like you've improved most in the last year?
Definitely my time. This summer I worked a lot harder, like training and stuff, and so I feel like my times are a lot better than last year.
Mackenzie, you're from Garraway. We're running in Sugar Creek this year. Was that an advantage running on your home course?
Yeah, definitely, because most of the girls didn't know how to pace themselves throughout like the gift. You can't run as fast, and so there's definitely a lot of advantages we did have coming into this.
Mackenzie, as we sort of look down the home stretch of the cross-country season, and a lot of sports are sort of in the beginning, it's hard to believe you guys are going down the home stretch. I guess what were your goals coming into this year in terms of what you'd like to accomplish in the districts and the regionals and that kind of thing?
Districts and regionals definitely want to get up there, top 2, top 3, and then state is definitely top 10.
Well, Mackenzie, congratulations on winning the 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Championship. We'll look to see you continue to have success in your junior and senior years. Thank you.
Thank you.
More coming up as our coverage from the 2012 Tuscarawas County Cross Country Champs continuing from Sugar Creek.